Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday Workshop with Build A Quilt. So glad to see you all, although I can't see you, but you know what I mean. Hi, everybody. I'm Diana. Welcome in, like I said, to Wednesday Workshop with Build A Quilt, which is all about patchwork in the hoop. That's right. We create our beautiful patchwork with the hoop of our embroidery machine. This system, I created this system basically so I could quilt with friends who were machine embroiderers. But really, it's for anyone and everyone that wants to quilt, to learn how to do patchwork quilting, but they don't want to take months and years to learn how to do all of the accurate piecing or to invest in the thousands of dollars of worth of tools that you need to do any of the traditional types of quilting. I've been quilting for over 55 years, so I understand what it takes to be a quilter financially. And with Build need at all, you need a 5x7 hoop and a basic home embroidery machine, some wash away stabilizer, fabric, one or two rulers for some straight cutting and some snips and thread, and that's about it. So because everything gets created with the digital design that creates the segment pieces that create our bigger blocks that become quilts. So that's Build a Quilt in a nutshell. And I rambled on there a little bit. I didn't mean to do that. But it has been a long day today. I've been up since really early, just working, just kind of getting things done and getting things ready for this evening and getting things ready for our year-end quilt along, which I'm going to tell you about a little bit more coming up here. Just lots of stuff going on. And honestly, I don't know if I'm going to get it done or not. On Monday, my husband had a doctor's appointment, a check back for his knee. If you've been with us for a while, you know he messed up his knee pretty good back in the summer and had to do some PT and stuff. So while he was in seeing the doctor, I sat down and wrote 4 pages of lists of things that have to get ready and to be done by the end of this year for next year. I even ordered myself my new 2026 planner. So I'm ready to go. I'm ready to be organized this year a little more than this last year, hopefully. So anyway, it's so good to see you all here this evening. Please just type into the comments, say, hey, I'm so-and-so. You can tell us where you're from if you like. I so enjoy saying hello to you all and finding out where you're from. I've lived in a lot of places because my husband was in the Navy. He used to fly for the Navy years ago. And so I love to find out where place people are from. So if it's a place I know and all that. So like one of our regular friends here at Build a Quilt is just from across the state line. I'm in Illinois and she's in Indiana. So somebody's from out in the Seattle area and I lived out there for a couple of decades. So all that kind of fun. All righty. So I've got a lot to show you guys this evening. But like we always do, I like to start out the evening with a couple of cartoons. You're going to have to excuse me, guys. My allergies are really bad right now because it's harvest and we live right across the road from a big field. And so allergies are just kind of going nuts. However, it's turned cold. Finally, it's only been in the 40s all day. And so I spent a little bit of this afternoon getting everything out of the garden into the greenhouse or the hoop house, things that need to be overwintered with a little extra care. So I got that done and it's been windy here for days. We finally had some storms. So, there's our good friend Ruth. Hi, Ruth from Lake Stevens, Washington. One of my favorite places. How are you tonight, Ruth? I hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining us. But it's finally turned cool and getting the garden buttoned down, put to bed for the year. Although I know with gardening, it really never stops because like as soon as everything gets put away, all the planning for next year really gets going in earnest. And I'm taking a very special workshop class this winter for myself. So lots of stuff going on there. But now that it's turned cool, I'm just overjoyed. We had more 90-degree days here in north central eastern part of Illinois than we've had ever in one summer. Like by the end of May, or the middle of June, I think we were already over our average number of 90-degree days for the year. And at that point, we were like, our average was 17 in the middle of June, and we were at 19 then. And those days just kept coming on. Literally until just like a week or so ago, we were still in the high 80s, which is crazy warm for us here in this part of Illinois. So I'm so happy that it's now getting cool. So tonight is supposed to be frost. So tomorrow would be Frostmas. So I've got a nice dinner that I'm going to make, a nice cozy warm dinner for Dave and I on Frostmas. So I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, are you guys ready for some cartoons? Oh, can I just say, if you hear a sound, it sounds like an airplane is taking off in the studio. As you know, we've been trying to dry out a hallway to finish having the floor replaced, the flooring put in, and it's almost there. Like we're this close. We've got it. We have to have a number on the moisture meter of 25 or below. 25 equals like 12%, I think. And they said 12% is like the highest moisture you want. If you can get it lower, go lower. So we are under that now. We're like in the low teens now, but they're not coming till next Thursday, a week from this Thursday, to finish the flooring. So we're trying to get that floor just as dry as we possibly can. Since it wasn't from a leak, we found out it was from a professional steam cleaning gone bad. Eeks. Don't mean to scare anybody, but that's what happened. We had a steam cleaner come in about 9 months ago, did a deep cleaning, and it took days and days for it to dry. And once it felt dry on top, we went ahead and put a cabinet back in, and it wasn't dry underneath, and it just stayed wet this whole time. So we've been trying to dry it out, but luckily we don't have any wall damage, any of our like molding, none of that was damaged. There's just like a piece literally 8 by 8 inches. We call it the circle of doom. And every day I test it with the meter. We've got a fan on it. We've got a dehydrator. Since we put the dehydrator, this is my tip for you if you ever are in this situation. The most powerful fan you can get, like a garage type, like really heavy. We have a DeWalt garage fan blowing across that floor. We have just a regular size household dehumidifier because it's a small space, but you can rent dehumidifiers, like big ones, like at a local rental place. We have a little oil enclosed room heater that we let it warm up a certain degrees, because we keep our house kind of cool, but you want it warmer for it to really dry well. So we've got that set to just to keep that hallway a little bit warmer than the rest of the house. And it's like I've been emptying the dehumidifier like at least every day, if not a couple of times a day. I've already emptied it twice today, and it's just pulling the moisture out really well. We lost more water from there and got rid of more water from there in 3 days with that dehumidifier than we had for the 2 weeks that we just had the fan on it. So that's the way to go. All righty. So that's kind of what's going on here at the studio and at the house. All righty. So let me share with you our first cartoon. I love these cartoons. I try to share different ones, and you all are always welcome to send me some to show. But I love this company called By the Yard Comics. And this one, first of all, I've now realized I don't ever want my sewing machine to start talking to me. I think it would freak me out. But it says, "Why bother cleaning up? Isn't that just putting stuff into less obvious places?" And she's just looking at him like, smart Alec. But isn't that I have to say I got a bit of a chuckle off of that one, because yes, how many times have you put something away thinking, oh, it's all nice and neat and tidy now, and then boom, you need it and you can't find it, and you think when you're putting it away, this is the most obvious place to put it, right? I'll know where this is each and every time, I won't forget, and then out the window it goes, right? Happens to me all the time. So when I saw this, yes, I thought cleaning up really is just putting things in less obvious places. If you can see it, you're gonna deal with it. I guess that's the main thing there. But I thought this one was super cute, and she's holding her banker's box or her plastic box, whatever, full of fabric. So I thought this one was good. I liked it. All righty. So if that's happened to you, let me know in the comments. But it happened to me today. So it happens all the time. So here is our next one. This is also from By the Yard Comics, Jen Lopez. Jen, you're hilarious. I love these comics of yours. And it looks like the wife is supposed to have been, or the woman is supposed to have been coming home from the grocery store maybe. And the guy says, "Babe, there's nothing in here but fabric." And she says, "I know. The weather gal said we could be snowed in for days. Who needs food? I have to have fabric if I'm going to be snowed in." Don't you guys? I thought this one was really cute. I kind of doubled over chuckling with this one. I thought it was so cute. And I thought since it's cooled down now, I could say something about, snow, and it wouldn't seem like I was crazy. Although if I'd said it back in the summer, you guys would have known how much I have been wanting the weather to cool down. But yeah, I love it. "Babe, there's nothing in here but fabric." That's right. Because if we're going to, so in our house, it would say our local weather woman from Chicago is also a fantastic dancer. So we call her the dancing weather girl. So in this situation in our house, it would go, "I know, dancing girl said that we would be snowed in for days." But yeah, I can see Dave saying that. There's nothing but fabric in these bags. So I thought that was super cute. So, but isn't that right? You need to make sure you have fabric if you're going to be snowed in for sure. So those were our cartoons today. Remember, if you have cartoons, you are always welcome to send them in to me at support@sewincommon.com, and I would love to show them. If when you download them and all, it says who did them, who created them, let me know that too. That way I can always give them proper credit. Alrighty. So I have some new tools I wanted to share with you, or a new tool that I wanted to share with you, because the other one I've shared, but we have a little Q&A tonight, some things that got sent in that I wanted to share with you. But you all know that I'm learning the whole domestic long arming thing, right? And last week or the week before, one of these weeks, I know in my recent tool video, I showed you guys these long magic pins that are made for quilting, for when you're basting your quilt. And I got them for putting my quilts onto my leader cloths because I like these magic pins. And I told you what these actually are in another life, right? This is exactly what we use in dentistry to clean out a tooth before we do a root canal, when we're doing a root canal, except the bottom in the ones that in dentistry have like a little pattern on them, like a screwdriver would, so that we can clean that canal out and get all the infection out. Yes, I worked in dentistry for like 20 years. So, but that's what this is. So all they've done, instead of putting that at the bottom, they've just turned these into pins. They have tons of sizes and gauges of the pin. I really like them, but I got these to go up so I could pin my quilts onto my new leader cloths. But I also got this product called Pinmores. Has anybody used these? If you have, let me know in the comments. Now, I had to get orange because the aqua colored ones that I really wanted were sold out. In fact, I ordered them directly from the company. They're out in Santa Cruz, California. I believe that was where it was, but I know it's in California. I think Santa Cruz. So the only color I really liked left was orange. Now, I have a little warning on these for you guys, but let me open the bag here and show you what you do, because I've got a couple pieces of fabric here. If I can get they're in a little zippy bag. You can get these in bags of 100 or in bags of 50. Since I'm going to be using them maybe to baste my quilts too, I got a bag of 100. So I'm going to give you a warning right away. These are just like they're really heavy duty dense foam. They're fantastic. But I'm going to tell you, if you have pets, cats, dogs, or young children, like up to age 2 or 3, where they're constantly putting things they find in their mouth, Keep these under lock and key. That's just the size a baby or a cat or dog would choke on. Okay. You don't want that. So keep these like in their zippy bag and keep the bag like in a drawer in a place where nobody can get to them but you. Okay. Just as a warning. So I've got 2 pieces of fabric here, 2 triangles, and I'm putting them right sides together like I was going to pin them together. So I take one of my pins, and you can use these with any pin. These are for long arming, but so I'm going to try and put the pin through here so you guys can see it. Oh, look at me. Oh, I did it. So the thing is, when I'm doing that, there's that sharp edge, and you know, because you guys know I'm a total klutz, I'm going to end up getting stuck. But with this pin more, you just pop it right on there. And it blocks that edge from getting onto you, from pinning you. And so, you know, it would be laying down and you would run it under there and then you pop your pin on. The nice thing is there's not like a little hole or anything in these that you're aiming for. You just put your pin in and pop the pin more on it anywhere that it happens to stick on. Okay. But it holds on really well. And the one thing I was thinking too, if you are doing anything and you need to pin some things together, you want to pin something onto something that tells you like this is all like piece A for your block or whatever, you could pin like a little piece of paper on with a straight pin and put a pin more on there and it would hold it on there for you and you wouldn't lose it. But I saw these, oh golly, it's been several years ago. I'm going to say at least eight years ago. I saw these and I can't remember. So it's one of a couple people. It was either Tula Pink or there's a young woman, I can't think of her name, but she lives not far from us in Chicago, who creates So Sweetness is her company, creates beautiful bags. And it might have been her who I saw using these, but I think it was one of those two. It could have been someone else. But anyway, and at that point, I could not find them in any of my local shops to purchase. I still can't find them in my local shops. So I just went straight to Pinmore. I just typed in Pinmore and their website came up and I ordered myself a bag of 100 in the orange. I tried getting the multicolor too, and that was out as well. So drop them in there. Now I plan on putting these in a safer container than this. We don't have dogs and I don't have kids running around or cats, but I just don't want anyone, you know, accidentally thinking, I don't think Dave would think those were something he could eat, but you never know. You never know, right? So, but that's what they look like. And this is a bag of 100, so 50 would probably be, you know, like that size. So Pinmores, I can think of a ton of ways, but it says on here, the first and only tool of its kind, anchor your quilt with a Pinmore. Okay. And it took about 5 to 7 days to get here since I'm in the Midwest and it had to come from the West Coast. So not too bad. So that is the new tool I wanted to show you guys this week. Let's see, is there anything? Oh, yes, there's one other thing I want to show you too. Last week, I showed you these little trays that were supposed to fit in those little mini cobalt tool chests, right? So I told you don't bother getting them because they don't fit in there, and they really don't. I'm still of the opinion they really don't fit in there, but I got the one that's supposed to fit the flip top lid part of it. I got that to fit in there and I got the lid to finally shut, but it's not fully seated. And then one of the drawers, I got one like this in there. And again, it's in there. I can close the drawer. It's really a firm closure now, but it's not seated either. So I'm just telling you this in case like you're really dying to get organizers for those toolboxes. However, I decided to keep them because over at my sewing machine, I have a bank of drawers that sit to the side. It's part of the whole unit. And look what they do fit. Look at that. Look at all my bobbins. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of these rows. I've got a whole row of my pre-wounds, some more pre-wounds, and then these are all like colors that I've had to wind myself or something. And then in these two sides, you could probably put 2 more rows in each one of these of your bobbins, or small snips, whatever you wanted in here. Maybe your little screwdriver for your machine to take and change your needles out, that kind of thing. Anything like that would probably fit in here. So I like that. I thought that made a really nice little bobbin holder. And I'm always looking for bobbin holders that don't like require lids and stuff like that, because if I go somewhere, I just drop myself a dozen pre-wound bobbins in a zip bag and take them with me. I don't like taking every bobbin I own with me. So yeah, so this from the what I showed you last week, this works really great. And because you get a set of 2 of each size in the back, so you get 6 total, you get 2 of these. So you could have a whole bunch of space for bobbins. And I know some of us, especially like those of us that also do garment sewing, and I do costume creation and all for the theater, I have all kinds of bobbins that are not pre-wound, so that are ones that I wind for specific things. So that worked out good. So I did get a couple of them in my little cobalt tool chest. I'm still not truly loving it, but I got it to work. So I decided to keep it, especially when I realized I could use it as a bobbin holder. So not too bad, right? Alrighty. So the next thing I want to move on to is our questions and answers. So I decided I'd start doing this on Wednesday night when we're doing our live, when I get questions and questions from you folks. Now, I always answer you back when you send me a question, but some of these are worth repeating in our videos, in our live chat, so that we can talk about them. So question and answer section. Let me see here. Hang on just a second. I've got a message here. Speaking of Tula, have you seen her new collection? It's definitely bright and beautiful. I've never used your fabric. I might use it if you want to see it. Kimberly Jolly has a video showing it. Yes, Ruth, it's called Gray Works. I have seen it because I follow Miss Tula on like Instagram and Facebook. I don't really use Facebook anymore, but Instagram and here on YouTube and all of that. So yes, I've seen it. Her new collection is called Gray Works. So a few years ago, she did a black and white collection, which blew me away, because I remember hearing her say once that she didn't like using black fabric. So she created one that she would use, and it was a black print on a black fabric. So I'm kind of like her. I don't typically like, you guys know, I don't like using a lot of just straight solids. I like using things that's either a teeny tiny print or moto grunge, something like that. And so I went and ordered myself 5 bolts of the white and 5 bolts of the black, so that I use that a lot when I need a really bright, brilliant white, or if I need a true solid black. So this Gray Works collection is somewhat similar to me in my eye, but instead of black and white, it's the deep color is this beautiful, beautiful gray. And I think it was Tula that taught me too, that using gray instead of black for your background colors, it does something a little bit magical to the colors. It literally makes them sparkle or something. And I tried that on a quilt that I made, and she was right. At this point, if I need technically a black background, I will use a gray, and I find it looks far prettier to my eye. Okay. So yeah, her new collection is called Gray Works, and check it out on her Instagram account. She's got tons of videos. She's already showing projects and quilts and stuff like that. So, and I know there's definitely an easy quilt. It's not Build a Quilt, right? I need to talk to our friend Tula, right, and get her to start letting me do some patterns for her in the Build a Quilt. She needs to have some Build a Quilt patterns, right? So, but you guys know she's coming to the National Quilt Museum in Paducah in April, and Dave is taking me there for my birthday. So I am getting ready to start a quilt series about the quilts that I'm designing and making in all Tula fabric, just to celebrate the fact that she's coming to Paducah. I only live like 5 or 6 hours from there. So, I'm not missing that, right? So Yeah. So, yes, thanks, Ruth. And you said Kimberly Jolly at Fat Quarter Shop. She has a video showing it as well. Awesome. Check that out. I love Fat Quarter Shop. In fact, since I don't have shops near me, it's like a couple of hours away, no matter where I go. I order a lot of my fabric from Fat Quarter Shop. They're a great company, and Kimberly is just delightful. So thank you for that, Ruth. Thank you so much. So let's get back now to our Q&A. So a couple of weeks ago, or last week, whenever I put out my tools video, get rid of that now, I showed you this new clapper that I got from Riley Blake. Can I tell you, holy moly, is it heavy? It's 3 or 4 pounds. Like, it's a big one. But this handle comes screwed in here on the side so that everything is like one level playing field. And it's so that you can do that when you travel with it. Ain't gonna happen. I've never taken this handle off again. Even if I take it with me, it goes just the way it is now. And I don't like the fact that I have these 2 holes sitting here. I think it's unsightly. It's just me. I'm kind of picky that way, right? So our good friend Trish wrote in, and she said she does a lot of, she's a quilter, but she does a lot of woodworking too, it sounded like. And so Trish said to go into Dave's wood stash and get 2 hardwood plugs, little plugs that will fit into here, insert them, use a planer, plane them off, sand them down, and then these holes would be covered up. Trish, thank you. That is an amazing idea. Now, so I hope Trish sees this, because here's my question. You see inside that hole, they've got like this whole metal piece in there for the screws to go in. And I can't really see. I'm going to have to try and get a microscope and see down in there. I don't think it goes very far. So maybe I can pop that off and then do the wood plug idea, because I should have thought of that myself, but I'm so glad you sent that to me, Trish, because otherwise I would have never remembered that. However, I figured if I can't, since I'm never going to use these holes, what I could do is take some caulk and fill it with caulk and smooth it off, because there are sandable caulks and all, and there are caulks that look like this light wood color. So I could probably do that, and I think that would do the same thing. It would just cover up that whole idea. But thank you so much, Trish, for sending that information in a comment, because it would have never come to my mind. All right, so thank you so much. And then, oh gosh, I think it's been back in the spring, maybe. We did a little video series on batting. And one of the battings that I demonstrated and we talked about was a batting from a company called Birdie Bird. I love that name, Birdie Bird batting. That's kind of a little tongue twister. Birdie Bird batting is this real nice batting, but it comes with a layer of flannel attached to it, so that when you're quilting, you're not having to do like basting spray and basting pins, because your top is going to lay on that flannel, and that flannel is going to keep it in place. It's a great idea, and it worked. But what I realized when I was using it is it makes your piece awfully heavy. Now, doesn't mean if you're making a quilt, like I said in the video, I think if you're making a quilt, go ahead and try it and use it. But a viewer named, she's either pronouncing it Lisa or Lessa. When I see it, I pronounce it Lessa, because I have a friend who wrote about a character named Lessa in a book. And so if I'm mispronouncing it Lessa, I apologize if you pronounce it Lisa. But it's she's very excited about this Birdie Bird batting, and I don't want to dissuade you from trying it at all. But she wants to use a minky backing. Doesn't that sound luxurious? I love that. I love minky on the back of quilts. It's so like when you're using them to cuddle with, they're the best cuddle quilts ever. My concern for you, though, is if you're using minky, which is a heavy fabric for the back of the quilt, and you're using the Birdie Bird batting, which is 2 layers, which makes it a much heavier quilt to start with, I am afraid that your quilt is going to be super duper heavy and that you may not like it. So I think I said this in my reply to her, and this is what I would tell you guys. If you're going to do something like a minky with the birdie bird batting, cut yourself, say, a 15 by 15 inch square. Give something that can have a little heft to it. 12 by 12, I think, might be too small. But cut yourself like a 15 by 15, 18 by 18 inch square of the birdie bird batting. Just put a piece of muslin over the top, pretend that's your quilt top, and put a piece of your minky behind it. And work with it, quilt it up, even if you just do some straight stitching around it, or use it as a practice piece to practice your free motion or quilting in the hoop on your embroidery machine, whatever you want to do. And then take it out and hold it and see how heavy that is. And then try to imagine that like 15 times heavier, probably, because you probably have like at least 15 blocks. She's making a queen size quilt. If this were a twin size or a throw size, I don't think it would make much. It would be a heavier throw, but I think it would be fine. But at a queen size quilt or a king size quilt, I think it might be just a wee bit too heavy. But do a practice piece, because I've never done it that way with that batting and that in the minky on the back. So all I know is my experience with the birdie bird using it with cotton, and that it did make the pieces heavier. And so that's why I feel like the minky is going to be even heavier. So make yourself a little practice piece. And if you can't use it with that quilt, use it with a different quilt, because it is a beautiful batting. And having that layer of flannel is nice. It's going to be a super warm quilt, that's for sure. That extra flannel on there will make it a super nice warm quilt. Okay, so that is our thank you Q&A. Thank you so much, ladies, for writing in. I truly appreciate it. And I love getting your comments. So if you have comments in the videos, leave them in the videos. Or if you need to get a hold of me with a question, you can always do that at support@sewuncommon.com. And I will answer you. And then it's very likely I will put that question also in the thank you section during our Wednesday night workshop. All righty. So there's something that I want to talk to you about. I talked to you about it in this week's block, but I want to show it to you tonight too, right? So the video and the download for this week's block, which is week 8, block number 8 of our 24 block challenge, is out. It's the videos here on the on the channel. It's also in the video section on the website, and so is the download. Now, I remind you of this in the video and all, but I will do that now in case you haven't seen the video yet. The download, there we go. The download is the layout, the fabric requirements, and things like that you need for this week's block. To get the digital files and make all of the 24 blocks we're doing in this challenge, you need either our Build a Quilt Combo Basics, which is our larger size blocks, 3, 4, and 5 inch. They all come in those 3 sizes: square, half square, quarter square, flying geese, diamond in a square, and split rail. That's our regular size. I'm using the 3-inch size for my blocks. So I'm getting 9-inch finished blocks. And so when we go to do the layout, I'm going to have a nice sized quilt with those blocks. But you can also use our brand new mini set, same exact pieces, but these come in 1 inch, 1.5, and 2-inch sizes. So you can make anywhere from a 3x3 finished block if you use the smallest piece on the mini set, all the way up to a 15 by 15 inch block if you use the 5-inch segments in our combo basics, our regular size basic blocks. Okay. And these 2 sets independently, you can make hundreds, literally hundreds of quilts with just those 6 segment pieces. When you combine the 2 together, then it's almost limitless, because you can fit in smaller squares to add certain accents or corner squares, cornerstones, things like that in your quilt. And with both of them, it's a little bit easier to take a pre-written pattern that you love and make it with the Build a Quilt system. Okay. So that's what you need to get your how-to videos for making the segments, and you get your files. And the files, there's a folder. Within it, there are all the extensions for all the domestic machines. You just choose the one that fits your particular machine. Okay. So in this week's block, I talked to you about the idea of color value. This year, we've been talking about color all year, trying to give you tips and tricks and tools and all kinds of things without getting heavy into color theory. There's nothing wrong. If you are someone that says, oh, but I want to know everything there is to know about color theory. I want to be able to diagnose my colors to the nth degree and know what complements, what doesn't, go for it. Color theory is very scientific. And as a scientist, I've taken classes to learn about color, wavelengths, and all that kind of stuff. And it's cool. It's very fun. But when I quilt, when I design quilts, I like to be very spontaneous. I don't necessarily like to worry about things. And I don't like to put science that much into my quilting. It's more my creative side, right? But if you are new to quilting and color is a hang up for you, which it is for a lot of people, even if they've been quilting for a long time, getting into color theory can add even more layers of confusion and frustration. So my thought has always been, since I started quilting at the age of 7 with my grandma, put the colors together that you love. And I've already shared some really cool tools, and we did a whole big piece on let nature inspire your colors. We did all of that this year. But there is one part about color theory that I want to talk with you about just real briefly, and that is color value. What do I mean by that? I mean, what's light, what's dark, what's medium, what fills in between. So let me show you a photo. These fat quarters are laid out from light to dark, and these are the fabrics that I used in my block sample for this week. This picture, what it's telling me is, because in the pattern I need some darks, some mediums, and some lights, and these particular fabrics are, especially in the mediums to lights, get a little confusing. Is this really a medium? Is this more of a light? Is it heading more towards the dark? If you do a color value photo, and I'm going to tell you how you do that here in a second, a black and white photo will tell you if you've got your colors in that light to dark order, the best order you can get them in. So you can tell, like all the way here at the one end, you can see the whitish fabric with the print. Absolutely, that's a light. The one next to it's a light. This one, the third one, when you see the actual color, it was it could have been a medium, it could have been a light, but in this black and white photo, it's definitely light enough to be a light because the next color to it is definitely different. You can see the difference between the light and the medium. And then I just worked my way all through to the dark colors. So what a black and white photo allows you to do, once you lay your colors out, you take a snapshot of them and you will see, do I need to take this fabric and move it closer to the light colors? Do I need to take this fabric, move it closer to the dark colors? It will really help you put those things in order. And so you guys know that I showed you last week, I bought Amy Smart's new fat quarter bundle of her collection, Mary Catherine. And this is our block, and these are fabrics from the Mary Catherine collection. But as you can see, this pink and this pink, this one actually is that one that came up light. This one is the one that came up medium. This was a light. This was a light and a light. That's a dark. That's a dark. That was a medium. But you can see these are close enough when you look at them as a color that isn't it? You can kind of tell it can get a little rough about how you do that. But by taking that black and white photograph, I knew for sure which were lights, mediums, and darks. And so how you do that, everybody has one of these days, right? A phone. Take your phone and set your camera on the phone to its black and white setting. Now, there's usually a button or something, and it lets you pick like different effects and things like that, sepia tone, stuff like that. There should be one that allows you to look at it in black and white. Use that setting to take your photograph and to get your color value photo, and that will help you. Do you need to use that technique? No, not at all. But when you have fabrics that are a little confusing, it can be really helpful. And I won't go into the science as to why that is, because I'm not trying to teach you about the science of color in that way. But that is a technique from color theory, the idea of value, that can be really helpful, especially if you have colors that are real close together. And in the video, I tell you when I should have used it and didn't use it, and it has to do with that block right there. So when you watch the video on tonight's block, I'm going to tell you why I should have used a color value photograph with that block right there. Okay, so you have that to look forward to. So that is our tip and our little bit of lesson around color this week, is the idea of color value. And like up here, this block, both really dark. But when you take that as a black and white photo, this print shows up as a medium and the other one shows up as a dark. So I knew I was going to be okay. They weren't going to cancel each other out. It's a very saturated block in color, but they weren't just going to look like just all one dark color. And I did that by taking a black and white photograph. All right, now let's get on to our new block, because gosh, we're running out of time. We've not gone over for weeks and weeks. This is our new block, guys. This is block number 8. It's a super simple block, like all of our other blocks in the 24 block challenge. It is 3 rows and 3 columns. So it's a basic 9 patch in that respect. We're only using 2 segments this week, diamond in a square, half square, triangle. In the video, I talk about why I've made this diamond in a square this way and what it does to the overall pattern. Now, real quickly, help me name this. I've just so far named it block number 8. I tell you in the video that to me, it reminds me a little bit of a Dutchman's puzzle, or those whirligigs we used to have as a kid where, you blow on them and they would just spin around. So what would you name this block? Okay, it doesn't have a name. I just played around and put it together. I've never seen this block before. In all my years. So I just created it for the challenge. What would you name it? Go ahead, start putting comments in with names, and we'll name this block tonight. The download is available, and the full video is available as well. They're already out there on the channel, and this is on the website, and the video's on the website too. If you like watching the videos through our website, this video is out there as well. But this is our lovely block. Now, I don't normally show you a quilt layout for any of the blocks in the 24 block challenge, because when we get done with the challenge blocks, we're going to do layout. We're going to talk about that, and I'm going to come up with a couple of layouts, and we're going to figure out which one looks best, and that's how I'll put my blocks together, and you can choose which one you want to put your blocks together. So here are, I know you can't see these up here as much, but this is week 3 and 4, 5 and 6. Last week, we did this block, and we also did it in its reverse coloration. And then here was block number 1 and block number 2, week 1 and 2. But this week, this block makes such a lovely quilt that I put together a very simple quilt layout for you. Let me show it to you. Here we go. This is the layout. I thought this was so pretty. So how this block is just a simple 9 patch, 3 up, 3 down. This quilt is the same way. It's a big old 9 patch, 3 up, 3 down. So you can see here on the side, Each row is made out of 3 blocks. Now, I didn't give you size here because, again, it's going to depend on what size block you decide to make. If I used my 9-inch blocks and made 3, 6, 9 of them, if I made 9 of these blocks and put this quilt together, I would have a 27 by 27 inch wall quilt or tabletop or whatever you'd want to use it for. If you use the 5 by 5 squares, you would have a 45 by 45 inch quilt. Great baby quilt, great wall quilt. If you want to make this a little bit wider by adding extra blocks to the width and that same amount to another row at the bottom, you could get a nice throw size quilt from this. But I thought the way this came together was really lovely. And when you look at the 3 blocks here to the side, you will notice that they are not laid out exactly the same. The center block has been rotated. What that rotation does is give you this layout of these columns, these shorter columns and these shorter rows across. So you have all your diamonds in a square, and then you have these rows and these columns. And by rotating the center block here, that's what makes the difference. Okay. Very simple to do. And you don't have to even do this. I played with this quite a bit. You can put this together in just about any way you want. Play with it. Find out what layout you like. But with just 9 of the blocks, you can come up with a really pretty quilt with this week's block 8. Okay, I don't have any answers coming in for a name for this. So we're just going to call it Little Block 8 until I can figure out a block name for it. Like I said, it kind of reminds me of a Dutchman's puzzle, but without, a Dutchman's puzzle would be double our flying geese, but it's that kind of idea. I just really liked it. So I hope you like these layouts. If you make a quilt from this, I'd love to see a photograph when it's done. If you make your block, please, as with all our others, send me a picture at that same email address, and I would love to show them in our show and tell here on our Wednesday workshop. So let's go back up here. I think we've got a comment. Oh, our good friend Kathy is here. Oh no, Kathy, your internet has been down. I'm sorry. It's been kind of crazy in our area. Was it Monday? Our internet was down for part of the day. And then when it updated, when Microsoft did a big update, it changed all the settings. It was a little bit crazy. So I'm sorry about that. That's never a fun thing. Kathy says it reminds her of shark fins. Well, that's kind of interesting, Kathy. It's true. It does, doesn't it? Yeah, I can see that for sure. Like a whole little school of them right around Diana in the middle, and they're coming at me. I hate the idea of sharks. I love the ocean. I think I was really supposed to live in the ocean. That's how much I love it. But all these shark attacks we're hearing about lately, no mas. I don't like that. But that's our block. Okay, so shark fins. Yeah, maybe we'll think about that. Maybe we'll call it the fin block. How's that? I'm not sure how much people would love the idea of sharks, but as long as they're not biting my toes, I'm good. Oh, you know what? I had one more. It wasn't a Q&A, but it was a thank you from a viewer, Angela. Hi, Angela. Angela had watched the new video on our new design boards, the ones that you can make the separate pieces and then roll everything up in to take it with you. And she said she loved it and that she is going to make several of them. Great, Angela. Thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed that, dear. All righty, everybody. That is everything for this week, except now I want to talk to you about the year-end quilt along, and we've got a few more minutes left. So tomorrow, or at the very latest Friday morning, but I think I can get it all filmed and edited tomorrow because it won't be a very long video. I am putting out a video announcing our end of year quilt along. It's not a huge quilt. It's only 45 by 45 inches. So it's like a baby, a wall, something to throw over the back of a sofa or a chair, anything like that. You could use it as a lap quilt too. It is called Star Chart. And tomorrow I'm going to be bringing you a video showing you the fabrics I'm using so that if you want to use them too, you can, and how much of each fabric you're going to need. Okay. And so that video is coming out because I was telling you that I'm getting ready for the new year. I've got my 4 or 5 pages of notes here about all the things I need to do and get ready by the end of the year for next year. Never ends. It's all the good stuff. So our quilt along is going to be every Tuesday for 4 Tuesdays in a row, November 4th, 11th, 18th, and 25th. So we are going to finish right before Thanksgiving. And you know what that means? After everybody's eaten all the food, people are watching the football games, everybody's relaxing, you're going to have your quilt top done. And you can be sitting there. If you like to hand bind, you can be hand binding, maybe spend a little time with your sewing machine, doing your machine binding, whatever you want. And by the end of Thanksgiving weekend, you can have this beautiful Star Chart quilt finished. I challenge you. I plan on doing it, so you guys can do it too. I'm sure you can. So that video is coming out tomorrow, but like I said, at the very latest on Friday, because I hate to set dates sometimes like that because you never know what's going to go on around here. It's crazy. And tomorrow is going to be Frostmas because it's supposed to our first frost tonight. So that is coming out. Like I said, it is going to be not a 45 by 45. I apologize. It's going to be a 40 by 40 quilt. Very easy to make, very pretty to make, but it's called Star Chart. And if you see like the portion of it, the main portion of it, it doesn't look like much of anything, but when you put the portions together, the whole Star Chart shows up. So I hope you like it. It's been fun designing it. And I should tell you that, what day was it? Last Friday, I also have already designed next year's holiday quilt along. I've got all the artwork done for it. Now I just have to start like calculating fabrics and digitizing the segments and putting it all together. So I've never had a quilt for an end of the year like pre-planned this far ahead, but I've got the artwork done. When I showed it to Dave, he was a little bit awestruck, which kind of took me back a little bit. But I will say that this quilt for the end of next year, to me, is the prettiest quilt I've ever designed. I love it. I would like to make it. Well, I will be making it throughout the year so that I have a sample to show you guys. But I would love to have had it done for this year. But it's just, there's not enough time. I already had Star Chart in the wings waiting for us to do. And so I don't want to change it up for you because you're going to love Star Chart too. And you can never have enough quilts, right? Alrighty, everybody, here is the question of the week. We'll do it real quick. We've got a couple minutes. Question of the week. Where is it? And then we'll spin the wheel and see who wins the prize. So I'm going to ask you a question. It's a very basic question, and then you are going to put your answer in the comment, and after people have answered, we'll give you a minute or so, then I'll spin the number counter and we'll see who wins. Here it is. Question of the week. Are you left-handed, right-handed, or do you both use both hands equally? Ambidextrous. Do you use both hands equally? Or do you use, like Dave is definitely left-handed, but he does sports right-handed. Not me. I'm lefty all the way. This right hand of mine, the good Lord gave it to me so I would be a symmetrical whole person. He did not give it to me to use for anything special because I can't. I had this hand broke once when Dave was in flight school and I was living on my own until he got done with flight school. And I had a cast on. I had a stick shift car, but I can't sign my name with my right hand. So I had to go. This was so long ago. It was before like debit cards and stuff. Yeah, I'm old as dirt. but I had to go to our bank and show them what my signature would look like with my right hand. And they said, it's a good thing you came in, because we would have not cashed a single check with that signature, because that doesn't look anything like your signature. And it didn't. Like adding machine stuff, I can't use an adding machine with my right hand. I used to work, when I was in high school, I worked for a doctor's office in our hometown. And as a lefty, I would always like move everything to the left side of the desk if I were like adding up things at the end of the day, or different things like that. And the lady who worked there full time for the doctor, every time I'd work there, she'd have to come in and move everything back over to the right side, because I couldn't do the calculator and stuff, the adding machine with my right hand at all. Let's see. Ruth says she's right-handed. I'm not surprised. If we get a lefty, I would be surprised. And Kathy says right-handed, but have used left hand at times. Now, I'm interested to know, Kathy, is it what you've used your left-handed for? Did you train yourself to do it? Or is it something you use just naturally, you just do it with your left hand? That's more of an ambidextrous kind of thing, not fully, but partially. If you've trained yourself to do something with your left hand, that's even more curious to me as to why you would do that, because that's interesting. But I have tried. I have tried to force myself to learn how to write right-handed in case something ever happened. I had to have carpal tunnel surgery on both hands. And when they did my left hand, you guys know, I'm a scientist. That's my career. I watched them do my surgeries, right? I was fully awake and watched them do these surgeries. And the whole time I was like, hey, you want to move that? You want to move that clamp over a little bit? I'm afraid you're going to get that nerve. Right? I was so worried about my left hand being damaged so that I wouldn't be able to use it again. I literally was like, I had anxiety attacks for like the week leading up to the surgery and the 6 weeks during the healing, until the occupational therapist gave me the go ahead, because I was so scared of using the use. And now I've got this horrible cyst on my wrist. It's a ganglion cyst from an injury, but it's starting to get to the point where it's bothering me a lot. And so my doctor said I should really have it removed. And so it's not my hand, but it affects this thumb. So again, I'm like getting all nervous, like I'm putting it off, and Dave's like, don't put it off, just go get it done. I'm like, oh, I'm so nervous. Kathy says you had to train to do surgery on your right arm and shoulder. Oh, so you learned so that you could do stuff after your surgery. Yeah, see, I'm glad you were able to do that, Kathy. I tried and not. So, right-handedness, left-brainedness, this side of my brain must just be like empty, because it does nothing. All right. Anybody else want to tell us, are you right-handed, left-handed, or both? I thought this was just like a fun one. It just hit me. I wonder if they're right-handed or left-handed. Because like when I think part of why it came to me is when I was doing the video for this week's lovely block. I noticed that I was showing a cutting scenario, and I had to remind everybody I'm cutting as a lefty. So if you're a righty, you'll have to flip it, because I've had people say, oh, I that didn't look right to me. And I'm like, because I'm a lefty. Kathy says, not saying I did it good. Kathy, you're funny. Kathy says she's not saying she trained herself to use her left, but she's not saying she did it good. Yeah, but at least you kept trying. Like, I tried long enough, and then I'm like, forget it. I'm not going to do it. I couldn't even feed myself. It was horrible. Like, we would make soup that didn't have any bits in it, and I would suck it through a straw because I could not, I was hitting myself in the face with the spoon. It was horrible. So, all right, Ruth and Kathy. Let's see. I'm doing the spinning, and I'm not looking because you guys know I get seasick. It didn't land on anyone. So Ruth and Kathy, you both are winners this week. Thank you for playing. I appreciate you taking the moment to play our game with us. So I will send you guys out a prize tomorrow or Friday. You guys, you'll get it in the next couple of days for sure. Just so busy. All right, everybody. We are pretty much done for the evening. It's been great. to have those of you here that were able to join us. If you're watching in the replay, I'm glad you're watching. Thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you maybe live with us next week as well. Let me take that down. So if you are new to us and you enjoyed our evening, please subscribe, like, and share. That's how our channel has grown, and we can't thank each of you enough. And then, as I always say, quilters are artists, and artists kind of walk to the beat of their own drum. But the one thing they do, each and every one of them, is they make the world a more beautiful place. So quilters, you're making the world a more beautiful place each and every time you make a lovely quilt. Whether it's your design or someone else's, you're making the world a more beautiful place. So, as always, go quilt life beautiful. See you guys next week. And the video on the star chart quilt will come out sometime either late tomorrow or early Friday morning. All right. Good night, everybody.